you've got the plate carrier, you've run the drills, you call yourself an operator, so why are you lying dead in the street? In the aftermath of the grid collapse, the most dangerous threat wasn't an organized enemy. It was the small, fatal mistakes made in the first 72 hours. This is an after-action review of what got good people killed. We're dissecting the 10 errors that turned seasoned pros into statistics, starting with the one that took out an entire team before they even left their own zip code. This is not a drill. This is a debrief. The term after-action review, or AAR, comes from the military. It's how we analyze what was supposed to happen, what actually happened, and what we learn from the gap. There is no blame. There is only brutal honesty, so we don't make the same mistakes twice. When the lights went out for good, triggered by a coordinated cyber and EMP strike, the rulebook was torched along with the grid. Operators, trained and equipped, started falling. Not in complex ambushes, but from simple, predictable errors. This AAR is built from the patterns of those failures. Our mission here is to dissect the 10 most lethal mistakes, the kill chain breakers that turned fortified positions into tombs and good survivors into cautionary tales. Pay attention. The life you save will be your own. Fatal error. Number 10. The bug-out fantasy. The first error is also the most romantic. The bug-out fantasy. The idea that when the city falls, you'll be the one hero driving your family into the sunset toward that fully stocked mountain retreat. Here's the reality from our AAR. A well-equipped 4-man team, call them Unit Phoenix, hit their bug-out plan 3 hours after the blackout. They had a reinforced SUV, go bags, and a destination 50 miles away. They didn't account for reality. Every highway was a junkyard of dead vehicles. Side roads were clogged with panicked citizens who had the exact same idea. On a choked access road, they were ambushed by a desperate group who saw their loaded vehicle as a jackpot. Their superior gear meant nothing when they were boxed in and overwhelmed. The entire unit was wiped out. This scenario repeated across the country. The mistake is buying the Hollywood fantasy and underestimating the friction of a real-world collapse. In an urban grid-down event, your primary location is your hardpoint. You have your assets, you know the terrain, and you hold the defensive advantage. Leaving that fortress without a clear, rehearsed and viable exfiltration plan isn't a strategy. It's a gamble. The lesson is this: your default is to bug in. Leaving is the last resort, reserved for when your location is unequivocally compromised by something like fire or structural failure. Your bug-out plan needs to be pressure tested. Do you have multiple routes on foot? Have you stashed critical supplies along those routes? Have you run the drill at night under stress? Most hadn't. They died because they confused a cool idea with a working plan. You move only when the danger of staying is mathematically greater than the danger of moving. Fatal error number 9, normalcy bias. The second fatal error is a virus of the mind. It's that little voice whispering, "Don't worry, the power will be back on soon." Normalcy bias is the mental anesthetic that convinces you a catastrophe isn't happening, even as it's kicking in your door. Case study: a suburban cul-de-sac. For the first 6 hours of the blackout, families gathered, trading rumors and reassurances. They decided it was just another outage. One operator, trained for this very scenario, was paralyzed by social pressure. His wife and neighbors told him he was overreacting. He put off filling his bathtubs and water jugs. He didn't barricade his doors. He waited. That 6-hour window was everything. By the time the first riots were audible from the nearby commercial district, the water pressure was gone. The stores were being picked clean. The window to act had slammed shut. His family wasn't caught unprepared by the collapse. They were caught by their own denial. This is where the kill chain shatters. Refusing to accept that the world has changed means you lose the initiative. Desperate people who accept reality faster than you will strip every resource bare while you're still hoping things go back to normal. Survival is about making decisions, and freezing is a decision to fail. The correction is to operate on triggers, not feelings. Your plan must have non-negotiable action points. Example, a power outage over 4 hours automatically triggers your Stage 1 response. You fill every container with water. You secure all entry points. You establish comms with your team. You do this regardless of what the neighbors are doing or how you feel. You have to train your mind to assume the worst and act with violence of action. Your mindset is your primary weapon. In the first hours, he who hesitates is dead. Fatal error number 8, over-reliance on technology. The modern operator loves his toys, GPS, encrypted comms, night vision, smartphones. In an EMP-driven grid collapse, that dependency is a fatal vulnerability. We have multiple reports of teams becoming completely combat ineffective the second their electronics died. One group, trying to navigate out of a dense urban center, was completely dependent on their phones for maps and communication. The initial EMP surge fried their primary devices. Their backup batteries were useless bricks. Disoriented and unable to coordinate, they stumbled right into a hostile roadblock set up by a local gang. Without their tech advantage, they were just scared people in the dark. They were eliminated. The mistake is assuming your tech is invincible. An EMP will fry unprotected circuits in an instant. Even without an EMP, batteries die. Charging sources become high-value targets. Relying on a tool with a finite lifespan in a long-term crisis is setting yourself up for failure. The lesson: go analog. Now, your primary systems for navigation, timekeeping, and intel must be non-electric. This means mastering a map and compass. It means using a wind-up watch for guard shifts. It means having printed hard copies of critical data. Your electronics are a bonus, a temporary advantage, not a lifeline. Mission-critical devices belong in tested Faraday cages with a clear plan for minimal, disciplined use. Train your brain to be the primary processor. Your skills keep you alive, not your gear. Fatal error. Number 7. Catastrophic OPSEC failures. OPSEC, or operational security, is the discipline of being invisible. In a grid-down world, it is the most important discipline there is. If you can be seen, you can be killed. This scenario repeats itself with chilling frequency: the morale fire. Night 2 of the collapse, a team of ex-military, feeling secure in their fortified suburban home, lit a small bonfire in the backyard. They wanted to cook a hot meal and boost morale. That smoke plume was a lighthouse in the dark. The smell of cooking food traveled for hundreds of yards. Within an hour, their position was swarmed by a desperate armed crowd drawn by the promise of assets. The team lost 2 members and burned through critical ammunition, defending against an attack they had personally invited. This mistake is born from arrogance. In a world without ambient light and noise, a single flashlight beam can be seen for a mile. The sound of a generator is a dinner bell. The smell of bacon is an open invitation to a home invasion. Bragging about your preps online before the event is just creating a target list for later. The solution is to become a ghost. Total light discipline is mandatory. Black out all windows. Inside, use red lens headlamps only. Red light is harder to see from a distance and saves your night vision. Noise must be ruthlessly controlled. A generator needs to be muffled and run for short, irregular periods, ideally masked by weather. Cook with low-odor foods. All waste must be buried far from your location. OPSEC isn't a suggestion. It's a law of survival. Break it and you'll be broken. Fatal error number 6. Single-point water failure. You can live 3 weeks without food. You can only live 3 days without water. This makes water your most critical asset, and failing to secure it is a swift execution. Consider this case. A prepared family had a top-of-the-line water filter. It was their entire plan. When the grid died, the municipal pumps failed, and tap water became a trickle of contaminated sludge. Their single, high-end filter clogged with sediment in 2 days. With no backup, they had to choose: drink suspect water or suffer extreme dehydration. They drank the water. Within a week, dysentery swept through the family, leaving them too weak to defend their own perimeter. The mistake is having a single point of failure in your most critical life support system. A filter breaks, your stored water gets contaminated, your source dries up. The solution is redundancy. The standard is 3 different methods of water purification at all times. That means you need to be able to boil, you need chemical tablets like bleach or iodine, and you need a mechanical filter. The second a crisis begins, your first priority is to fill every container you have with water: bathtubs, sinks, buckets. Have a minimum of 1 gallon per person per day, stored and secured. Scout backup water sources in your area before a crisis. Your survival is measured in gallons. Don't let a clogged filter be your epitaph. We're halfway through this debrief. If you're finding this intel valuable for your own preparations, hit the subscribe button. Our mission here is to provide actionable intelligence that keeps good people alive. Don't become a statistic. Stay informed. Fatal error. Number 5. The sanitation breakdown. This is the one nobody likes to talk about, but it's one of the most prolific killers in a collapse. When the water stops, the toilets stop. When sanitation fails, disease becomes the primary enemy. In one well-documented community AAR, a group had successfully fortified their block. They had sustainment, water, and a solid defense plan. Their fatal flaw: no waste management plan. Within a week, human waste was accumulating in backyards, attracting pests and breeding bacteria. Rain carried fecal matter into a creek another family was using for water. The result was a wave of disease. Dysentery, cholera, and other infections tore through the community. It incapacitated nearly 40% of their fighting-age members, leading to a catastrophic collapse of their defenses when a rival group finally attacked. The mistake is treating sanitation as an afterthought. You are your own public works department now. Failure to manage biohazards leads to diseases that modern medicine made us forget about. The tactical fix is a sanitation protocol from day one. You need a designated latrine site, at least 150 feet from any water source and your living quarters. A 6-foot deep ventilated improved pit latrine is the field standard. Treat the waste daily with lime or ash to control pathogens and the smell. Establish strict hand-washing stations. Enforce the rules. It's not glamorous, but hygiene is a frontline defense. You can't fight off looters when you're dying from diarrhea. Fatal error number 4. Treating hygiene as a luxury. Tied directly to sanitation is personal hygiene. Under stress, it's easy to let standards slip. This is a deadly mistake. AARs from long-term survival scenarios show that minor injuries become life-threatening because of poor hygiene. We analyzed the case of a skilled medic in one group. He got a small cut on his forearm while building a barricade. In a normal world, it's nothing, but in a filthy, high-stress environment, without the ability to properly wash, the wound got infected. He developed sepsis. In 72 hours, the man who was supposed to keep everyone else alive was dead. His death created a medical vacuum that led to 2 other members dying from treatable conditions. The mistake is seeing hygiene as secondary to security. Your skin is your body's first line of defense. When it's compromised and your immune system is stressed, bacteria runs wild. The solution is to treat hygiene like posting a sentry. It's a critical daily task. Even if it's just a field bath with a wet cloth and a basin of boiled water, it's non-negotiable. Stockpile baby wipes, alcohol, betadine, and soap. Every cut and scrape must be treated immediately and aggressively. Clean it, apply antibiotic ointment, cover it. Your individual first aid kit isn't just for bullet holes. It's for the small injuries that will try to kill you slowly. In a world with no doctors, hygiene is your best medicine. Fatal error. Number 3. Medical complacency. This error is the psychological cousin of ignoring hygiene. It's just a scratch mentality. In a world without hospitals, it's suicide. One of the most tragic stories we reviewed involved a unit leader known for his toughness. He gashed his leg on scrap metal during a patrol. He waved it off. It's just a scratch. He refused to stop and have it cleaned, prioritizing the mission. By the time he admitted the pain was bad, his leg was showing signs of gangrene. The group's medic, lacking surgical tools or a sterile environment, had to attempt a field amputation. The leader died from shock and blood loss. His unit, which depended on his leadership, fell apart within days. The fatal mistake is downplaying any trauma. There are no minor injuries in a collapse. An infected wound, a dental abscess, a bad sprain. These are all potentially lethal conditions when there's no ER. Your body is your most critical piece of equipment. Protect it with discipline. The solution is a zero-tolerance policy for injuries. Immediate and thorough first aid for any wound, no matter how small. Train everyone in your group on basic trauma care. Your medical kit needs to be more than just bandages. It needs broad-spectrum antibiotics, suture kits, tourniquets, and the knowledge to use them. The tough guy act will get you killed faster than a bullet. Fatal error. Number 2. The food storage catastrophe. You spent years and a small fortune building a food stockpile, but when you finally crack open that bucket of rice, it's rancid. The can you open hisses. Your life-saving asset is now poison. This exact scenario played out for a family who invested thousands in long-term food storage. They thought they did it right. They bought in bulk and stored it in their garage. But they failed to account for two silent enemies, temperature and time. The summer heat in the garage turned the fats in their rice and grains rancid. Humidity caused microfailures in can seals, leading to botulism. When the crisis hit, they started eating their stores, only to be struck down by severe food poisoning. Weakened and sick, they were easily overrun. The mistake is believing food storage is set it and forget it. Heat, humidity, pests, and time are constantly working to destroy your investment. The tactical correction is to manage your sustainment like a professional logistician. Use the FIFO principle. First in, first out. Label everything with a date and rotate it into your daily pantry, so your supply is always fresh. Store assets in a cool, dark, dry place, never a garage or attic. Use Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers for dry goods, and diversify. Don't rely only on one type of food. Your stockpile is not a museum. It's a living system that requires constant management. Fatal error. Number 1. Undisciplined light and scent. This is the micro error that gets you killed instantly. The careless sweep of a flashlight. The smell of coffee on the morning air. In a high-threat environment, it's a death sentence. The AAR archives are full of sentries taken out by a single disciplined sniper. In one case, a guard on a rooftop used a powerful white light flashlight to scan the street. That brief flash was all a patient marksman 200 yards away needed. The beam silhouetted the guard perfectly against the night sky. He never saw it coming. The same goes for scent. A team cooking bacon for breakfast broadcasted their location and their resources to everyone downwind, leading to a targeted, deadly raid. The mistake is underestimating the senses of a hungry enemy. After weeks in the dark, human eyes become exceptionally adapted to low light. A flicker of flame is a flare. The human sense of smell, no longer dulled by city pollution, becomes sharp. The scent of cooking can travel for miles. The solution is absolute discipline. No white light outside. Period. Indoors, red light only, and never visible from a window. Scent must be managed with the same rigor. If you must cook, do it downwind of your primary position. If you smoke, stop. The smell of tobacco is a unique and powerful signature. Every emission from your position, light, sound, or scent, is intel you are giving the enemy for free. Don't pay for it with your life. 10 errors, 10 patterns of failure. As we conclude this AAR, one theme is brutally clear. Survival is not about having the most gear. It's about the relentless, disciplined execution of the fundamentals. It's about avoiding simple mistakes. The operators who became statistics were not killed by complex threats. They were undone by normalcy bias, a misplaced faith in technology, a lapse in hygiene, the fantasy of a clean getaway. They were killed by a lack of discipline. The difference between life and death isn't your rifle, it's your mindset. It's your adherence to protocol when you are tired, hungry, and scared. This debrief isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to focus you. Analyze your own plans through this lens. Where are your single points of failure? Where are you complacent? Where are you substituting a fantasy for a rehearsed plan? This briefing is now open for intel sharing. Post one vulnerability in your own plan that this AAR has exposed. We build collective strength by hardening our weaknesses. Subscribe to this channel for more no-nonsense after-action reviews. Train hard, stay disciplined, execute.